y'all doing? It's your boy Smitty here. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, if you like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like and share it with your friends. Leave me a comment. I do read the comments and I do respond. I was debating whether or not I wanted to film this or not, and I figured, well, maybe it's something that y'all would be interested in. I know in one of my other videos I did a teardown on a 700 R4, and they're a little bit different. This is more up to date on one of the, a lot of what your 4th gen Camaros would have. But of course these are backwards compatible, so I mean you could put a 4L60E in a 3rd gen with a controller, but that's what we're doing. We got a 4L60E here. This is a 2004 model, and the customer brought this to me, said they lost 3rd and 4th gear. So, and it was set in the transmission slip code. As you can tell, it's got some goodies in it. It's got a sonnax super servo on it. Looks like the pump's fairly new. Everything looks pretty clean on it, but we need to get it apart and find out what exactly failed on it. I know y'all are desperate to see the donor run, and believe me, I am too, but I also try to help out when I can, so this is what I do. So we're gonna tear this dude down and see what kind of carnage we got, and I figured I'd take you along for the ride. This will probably be a multi-step video, depending on how extensive the damage is. So are you ready to do it? Me too. Let's get to it. Okay, first things first. Ouch. I really need a little less crap in my shop. We need to get, well, we don't have to get, but I like to take the bell housing out. You don't necessarily have to, but to me it makes things a lot easier. If this bell housing has never been out, let me show you this real quick. Okay, these bolts here, these are what they call a Torx Plus. It's not a standard Torx, as if you can see, they're rounded. So they do make a special socket for that, and that's what the socket looks like. There we go, get it to focus. This just happens to be a Matco TP50. But it'll fit down in these nice and tight. But if you get the bell housing out, it makes things a lot easier. If they've been out before, then they'll come out fairly easy. Otherwise, you'll have to break them loose by hand. I used to have to, yeah, these have been out before, so that makes it nice. These are supposed to be torqued to 53 foot-pounds, I do believe. But as I say, if they've never been out, they're super tight. On the later ones, they changed the bolt, and then it takes a different socket too. Why they couldn't just put a regular bolt in there? Well, part of the reason why they couldn't is it'll hit the bell housing. Get that out of the way. Okay, I've already had this thing draining, so the next thing is to take the, let's take this O-ring out right here. On your input shaft. Normally you should be able to pick up on this input shaft a little bit and have a little bit of play in there. There's not a whole lot of play there, which that's not good. Let it pee just a little bit more. All right. All right, we've got a little carnage. You can see the black on there. All right, pull your filter out of here. I'll just plop it in the pan for now. And we need to get the valve body bolts loose. Take your harness loose first though. All right, you got to take this solenoid out right here, and to do that, you just there's a clip here. Pop that clip out. That's what it looks like, and then just pull the solenoid out. I always put the clip back in the solenoid. That way you don't lose it. Then you get all these 10 millimeters. Take your TCC switch. That right there, and then pull your solenoid out. And then I just usually lay the harness off to the side. Okay, when you get something like that, it's important. I can't stress enough, y'all. Torque specs are really important. That bolt is way too tight. So, man, those are tight. The reason why I say that is because it will make all of your valves do some funny things in the bore. It changes the way the valve body actually operates if they're not torqued properly. Very important on a transmission. Torque all your bolts to spec. Don't skip that step. You got a couple of 8 millimeters down here too. You can leave the two 8mm bolts. I don't know if y'all can see the top of that or not. Let's do that. There you go. You can leave these two 8mm bolts here, because they're not actually connected to the valve body. But once you get all your bolts out, your 8mm headed bolts go in these three spots right here. That's kind of easy to remember. All the rest of them are 10mm head. And of course your long ones go into your, this is your pressure switch, and it's also got your temperature sensor in it for transmission fluid temperature. And very carefully pulled out. Okay, you should have some check balls. Got one there, one there, one on each spot there, one here. There'll be one underneath this cover, but pull them out. Should be a total of 7 if I remember right. There were 6 there. So we'll put those in that pan. Take your accumulator off. Okay, this is what they call a pinless piston. Yeah, don't press that out without, that'll squirt right back out of there. But it's basically, it's an aftermarket piston, but what they've done is they eliminate the piston, and it works pretty good. So all right. Now you got to take these 3 8mm down here off to get your separator plate. You can pull your linkage out of there too. Okay, and just pull your separator. This plate will come off with it. Pull your separator plate up. Go ahead and pull your gasket up. Okay, your other check ball is right in this hole right here. So just get in there and pull that dude out. And it went down in that servo. Well, at any rate, we're at that spot to where I can get it out. Let's that check ball is going to drop in the pan, but that's all right. There's worse places. fish this check ball out while I'm thinking about it. There we go. Got it. All right. All right, now we got to take the 13 mils out. And these have got little O-rings on them too, so you want to replace those when you take them out. Get you a screwdriver underneath the pump in the case. I tried like hell to keep that from going in the pan, and it never fails. It goes in there anyway. But it should be up far enough. Yeah. And pull your pump out. Now what we're looking at on the bottom is to see if the pump's in the right spot, or the gasket's in the right spot, and it is. Get behind this band here, and if you can, pull your anchor pin loose right out here on this front side. And got it. That's your anchor pin for your band. Alright, should be able to just lift this dude right out. Okay, this I want to show you. Oh, you stubborn son of a buck. Okay. That band's got a strange wear mark right in the center. I've not seen one that a band that's this light. I mean, this is a light band. And how it's got the wear pattern right in the center. That's pretty odd. Alright, we're just going to set that right there for now. Okay, I switch you positions here so maybe you can see a little better. Because here's what we want to look at. This is your reverse input housing. See, it's pretty smooth, but it's kind of strange how that band was grabbing right there in the center. Pull that dude off. I don't see any bluing on it, but you can feel a pattern in this thing. Right there in the center, there's a groove in it. It's like it's raised higher than the rest of it is. We're going to go ahead and look at this reverse input housing. See what the clutches look like in it. He's got some good clutches on it. Doesn't look like that was slipping any. Those have got some really nice clutches in it. Alright. So those Teflon seal rings right here, usually they sit a little bit further out than that. So let's put our pump on there. Well, doesn't feel too bad that way. See what we got in here for a shim. Okay, here's a problem. This 3/4 clutch pack oh, that's awful tight. Now, granted, this has been modified. And there's our shim, and this has got a 68 shim in it, which that's about normal. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, let's do the test on the housing. Okay, what I'm looking for, let me get the air turned on here. We want to check for the operation of these clutches. And the way you do that is you just apply air in these holes. If you heard that, that's what you want to hear there. Hear that noise? Not that noise. Alright, now that that's over, this bottom one is your 3/4. And it's binding. Now what I was looking for by putting fluid down in here is when you apply clutch to or air to that clutch, if you see bubbles coming around that input shaft, then the housing's bad. But we're okay there, so let's flip this thing over and see if we can see those clutches. Them are sticky. Real sticky. As we have a guest. Dang June bug. A little early for him. But anyway, this stack to me doesn't feel right. It feels too tight. So let's get it opened up. Okay, those are burnt. Those are done for. These clutches are done for. These are the super thin clutches to get extra bite. But if you look at this one, I'll look at it with you here. It's kind of hard to see, but this dude is actually coned. And there you can see it. If you look at it this way, you can see it's actually coned. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's got eight frictions and 8 frictions and steels. But if you look at this thing, here's another one. Here's another one that's really coned. I mean, and there's nothing on one side of it. Look at that one. So let's look at the rest of it. Because what else you got in here is your Ford. You got your Ford clutch. Man, that dude's tight. And you got your Overrun clutch. Okay, your Overrun clutches. Wow. That's a little burnt. Unusual for an Overrun clutch, but it's burnt. And you got your Ford clutches here. Look at it this way. These don't look bad. Last thing we want to look at is we want to look at this forward sprag. Because these were a known failure part. And that one looks good. And this is the 29 element sprag, so it's good shape. So it looks like we just got a problem with the 3/4 clutch and the 2/4 band. So we'll get a seal kit, get some Teflon seals, and go from there. So that's going to about do it for tonight's video, or day video, whatever you're looking at. This may be repetitive for some of y'all. Some of y'all already may know how to do this. I just figured maybe it's something that you could use, because this is a real world issue. Things break, things burn up. I'm going to tell you that one thing that was missing out of this input housing I wonder if that'll come out. That would be like awesome. No, it won't. One thing that was missing out of this input housing on these 3/4 clutches is they've got return springs. And what GM found out is if during high-speed operation, these clutches would actually hydraulically apply. I mean, you could see how bad these are coned, that those don't sit flat against each other. So it tends to burn them up. But there's 5 little spring packs that go around the outside, and they're there to help keep the thing from hydraulically applying during high-speed operation. Too many times I've seen them get thrown away, or like, oh, we don't need those. I think, my personal opinion is GM put them there for a reason. I'm kind of inclined to keep using them. I've never had one burn up from having them in there, so it is what it is. Anyway, we'll get with the customer and tell them what we found and see what he wants to do. But in the meantime, if you liked what you've seen, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn the notification bell so you get all the latest videos. Leave me a comment, like and share with your friends. I do read the comments. So that being said, you all have a fantastic day. I hope everybody's doing well. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. God bless you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.